chosen one. Pause. Do you feel it? The rushing of the world suddenly slows. The noise around you quiets. And in this exact moment, heaven presses in close. This is not coincidence. This is not the algorithm. This is divine interruption. A summons from the throne of God for your spirit to awaken. You are not here by mistake. You are here because eternity has touched time and whispered your name. You have carried questions, fears, and silent tears that no one else saw. Nights where your mind wrestled with shadows. Mornings when your heart felt too heavy to rise. And yet here you are, still breathing, still standing. Why? Because you are not ordinary. You are chosen, marked, set apart for something bigger than you can yet imagine. This is why heaven stopped everything to tell you, you must see this now. When heaven interrupts, it is never casual. It is urgent, holy, undeniable. Right now, your spirit stands at a crossroads. One path leads back into the same cycles of doubt, distraction, and delay. The other opens into a new season, a doorway into destiny. And God is saying, look, see, step forward, love. As Jesus himself declared in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 11, verse 28, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest." These ancient words echo across centuries to remind you that your life is not random, your destiny is not forgotten, and your calling is right on time. Chosen one, your valley has been real. The battles, the betrayals, the nights of questioning whether your prayers were even heard, they have pressed against your spirit. Yet even in the valley, God's rod has been guiding you, his staff protecting you. The proof is simple. You are still here. And if you are still here, it means your assignment is not finished. You may have been overlooked by people, but you have never been overlooked by heaven. You may have been rejected, but that rejection was redirection. Every delay, every closed door, was God's hand steering you away from what could have destroyed you. What you thought was abandonment was in fact preservation. And now, at this precise moment, the Spirit leans in close to whisper, "See with new eyes." The valley is not your end, it is your training ground. Listen carefully. The enemy has tried to convince you that you are weak, broken, or forgotten, that you are too flawed, too late, too far gone. Lies, every single one. If you were truly forgotten, this message would not be reaching you. If you were truly broken beyond repair, you would not still feel the stirring of hope inside your chest. The very fact that you are hearing this right now is proof that heaven has not given up on you. Pay attention. This is a divine moment, a thin place where eternity brushes against your reality. And in moments like this, you must choose. You can scroll past, let distraction pull you back under, or you can pause, breathe, and declare, "I am chosen. I will not ignore this call." Your journey has not been wasted. Every tear was a seed. Every sleepless night was an altar where heaven recorded your cries. And God is saying, I need you to see that nothing has been wasted. The valley was shaping your courage, your resilience, your unshakable faith. None. This is your awakening. The sudden pause of heaven is not to frighten you, but to crown you, to remind you of your identity. to place in your hands the strength you thought you lost. Hear this clearly: the shadow may be real, but so is the shepherd's presence, and his presence outweighs every shadow. So now, I call you into action. Don't stay silent. Heaven has reached you. Reach back. If this word speaks to your spirit, I ask you to honor it. Like this message, so it rises above the noise. Share it so another weary chosen one will be reminded of their strength. And most importantly, subscribe so you remain connected to every word of life that heaven is pouring out in this season. This is not entertainment. This is sustenance. And at the end of this first moment together, I invite you to mark your agreement with heaven, not with many words, not with endless comments, but with a prophetic number that signifies alignment. Type this number in the comments: 77. This is your declaration that you have seen, that you will not scroll past, that you align with the voice calling you higher. Chosen one. The sudden pause of heaven was not an accident. It was an encounter, and your response here now will echo into eternity. Chosen one. Before the world ever knew your name, before your family saw your face, before your first cry broke the silence of earth, you were already marked. You were not a random child of chance. You were a dream of God breathed into time. He knew you. He formed you, and he set you apart. The blueprint of your life was written in heaven long before it unfolded on earth. There is something powerful that happens when you realize you are not an accident. The storms of life may have tried to convince you otherwise. Maybe you were told you were unwanted, that you didn't belong, that your existence was a mistake. Maybe you felt like an outsider in your own family or an intruder in the circles of others. But hear this: human rejection cannot cancel divine intention. Every word spoken against you, every attempt to diminish your worth, is powerless compared to what heaven declared before you ever breathed your first breath. Chosen one. Your spirit carries the weight of eternity. That's why you have felt the struggle to fit in. That's why you cannot find peace in shallow things. While others chase after fleeting pleasures, you feel the ache for something deeper, something eternal. That ache is not emptiness, it is calling. It is the pull of destiny inside your very soul. The Apostle reminds us in his letter to the Ephesians, chapter 1, verse 4, "For he chose us in him before the creation of the world to be holy and blameless in his sight, in love." These words do not belong to Jeremiah alone. They echo for every chosen one. They are a mirror for your spirit. God is reminding you that your very existence carries appointment, not accident. Think back over your life. The unusual weight you carried as a child, the sensitivity of your heart, the dreams you had that others dismissed, the way you seemed to see and feel more than those around you. Those were not signs of weakness. They were evidence that you had been marked from the beginning, even when you did not understand it. Heaven had already placed its seal upon you, and perhaps you have wondered why your journey has been harder than most, why rejection came so easily, why people misunderstood you, why loneliness often wrapped itself around you like a cloak. Beloved, it is because you were never meant to blend in. You were called to stand apart. Gold is never treated like common stone. It is refined. It is protected. It is set aside for something greater. You are heaven's gold. Even now, there are forces that have tried to make you forget who you are. Distractions, temptations, voices of doubt, all designed to keep you blind to the truth of your identity. But God is lifting the veil. He is reminding you that your destiny was sealed before your story even began. Nothing in your past, no mistake, no failure, no wound, can erase what He established before time. Chosen one, breathe this in. You were dreamed into being by the Creator of the universe. You were carved with intention. Every detail of your design carries meaning. Your compassion, your resilience, your fire, your tears, all of it was woven by the hand of God for a purpose. When you see yourself as ordinary, heaven shakes its head and says, "No, this one is mine. This one is marked." The truth is, the enemy has seen your marking too. That is why the warfare against you has been relentless. Hell does not fight what it does not fear. The darkness recognized your potential before you did, and it sought to crush it early. But every attack you survived is a testimony. You are still standing, and you are still chosen. So now the question comes, will you believe what heaven says about you? Will you dare to stand in the identity that was written before you breathed? Because the moment you accept it, everything changes. Your past loses its power, your wounds become weapons, and your life becomes a living prophecy of God's glory. Chosen one. There is no going back to ignorance. Once you see the truth of who you are, you cannot unsee it. You are marked before birth, sealed for destiny, set apart to carry light into the darkness of this world. And heaven is watching as you step into the fullness of that truth. Remember this always: what was written about you in heaven cannot be erased by the hands of man. Chosen one, you have carried weight that others could not bear. The heaviness of your journey has not been punishment, but proof of the mantle that rests upon your shoulders. What feels like too much at times is actually the evidence that heaven trusted you with what could not be entrusted to everyone. Your battles are not random, they are proportionate to your calling. There is a reason storms find you, even when you did not go searching for them. There is a reason betrayal cut so deep, and loneliness sat so heavy. You are not fragile, you are forged. Every trial has been a furnace. Every hardship, a hammer shaping you into a vessel strong enough to carry what others would collapse under. This is why your life feels uncommon. You are not built for ordinary. You see, a mantle is invisible to human eyes, but it is recognized in the spirit. When you walk into a room, you may not notice it, but darkness does. That is why you have faced opposition that others never had to endure. That is why your presence has stirred jealousy, misunderstanding, and resistance. Because what you carry disrupts the comfort of darkness and unsettles the complacent. The voice of God thundered in the book of Exodus, chapter 19, verse 6. You will be for me a kingdom of priests and a holy nation. These words reveal the weight of identity set apart, not for ease, but for service, holiness, and impact. You, chosen one, are not simply surviving life. You are carrying a mantle designed to shift atmospheres and break chains. Think about your journey, the nights of isolation, the seasons when friends disappeared, the struggles that made you wonder if you were cursed. Beloved, those were not curses. They were consecrations. God was setting you apart, stripping away distractions, teaching you how to depend on His presence. The very things that broke others could not break you, because there is something on your life that refuses to die. This mantle you carry explains why life has often felt heavier for you. You were trusted to intercede, to stand in the gap, to carry light into places others would avoid. That weight is not random, it is sacred. And when you begin to see it as an honor rather than a burden, everything shifts. What once felt like crushing now feels like shaping. What once felt like loneliness now feels like sacred preparation. But you cannot carry this mantle in silence. You must acknowledge it, embrace it, and declare it. That is why I ask you now to type these words in the comments. I receive it. Why these words? Because they are more than a phrase, they are a prophetic act. When you type, I receive it, you are not just interacting with a message, you are coming into agreement with heaven. You are declaring to God, to yourself, and to the unseen realm that you accept the mantle that has been placed upon you. Agrément unlocks alignement, and alignment opens the flow of power. Chosen one. Imagine a soldier given a crown, but refusing to wear it. Imagine a king offered authority, but denying the throne. That is what it looks like when you downplay the mantle you carry. Heaven placed it upon you, not so you could ignore it, but so you could walk in it boldly. Typing, I receive. It is your way of lifting your head, of saying, yes, Lord, I accept what you have placed upon me. End of quote. Some will read this and scroll on, because they are not ready to embrace who they are. But you are different. You would not still be here if your spirit were not being called higher. This moment is for you. Do not miss it. Every chosen one must face the decision, shrink back under the weight of the mantle, or rise up and walk in its power. And as you declare, I receive it, you are stepping into the second choice. You are rising. You are embracing. You are saying yes. The heaviness you feel in this life will not destroy you. Instead, it will shape you. Every burden will turn into a testimony. Every rejection will refine your authority. Every hidden tear will water the seeds of your destiny. This mantle is not the end of you, it is the making of you. And so, beloved, let your spirit settle in this truth. You were born marked, and you have been entrusted with a weight of glory. Stop calling it a curse. Stop comparing your path to others. Accept the mantle. Carry it with reverence. Walk boldly with it. For the world is waiting for the light you bring. Chosen one. There is a reason your spirit has felt pressure from directions you cannot even explain. There is a reason unexpected storms seem to appear at the very moments you are about to step into something new. The unseen realm has never been neutral about you. Darkness has always recognized that you carry a light too dangerous to be left unchallenged. Spiritual warfare is not a story for someone else. It is the backdrop of your entire journey. Every setback you endured, every sudden storm, every betrayal, was not simply human circumstance. It was evidence of an invisible battle being waged over your destiny. While you thought you were fighting people, you were actually standing in the middle of a cosmic struggle. The ancient words recorded in Romans, chapter 8, verse 37 remind us, no, in all these things we are more than conquerors through him who loved us. That verse is not about ease, it is about war. It assumes struggle, conflict, resistance, and yet it declares victory. You, chosen one, are not promised a life without battles, but you are promised triumph through them. Look back over your life for a moment. Remember the times when confusion rose like a fog around your mind. Remember the nights when fear whispered louder than hope. Remember the moments you nearly gave up, because the weight was unbearable. And yet, here you are, still breathing, still searching, still listening. That is not weakness, that is testimony. You have survived battles that would have destroyed others. This is why your presence carries weight in the spiritual realm. Hell has thrown storms against you, not because you are weak, but because you are strong. If there were nothing in you to threaten darkness, the enemy would not waste his energy. Opposition is a clue. It reveals the magnitude of the assignment resting upon your life. Chosen one, I need you to see this clearly. You are not just enduring random hardships. You are standing in the middle of a battlefield where your destiny is the prize. That is why temptation has been fierce. That is why distractions have been relentless. That is why despair has tried to silence your voice. Each assault has been designed to keep you from stepping into the fullness of your calling. But let the truth settle in your heart. The war against you is not a sign of your defeat. It is proof of your importance. Every warrior who carries a crown must also carry scars. Every chosen one must pass through fire to be refined into unbreakable steel. The struggle you have endured has not been wasted. Each sleepless night has sharpened your discernment. Each betrayal has purified your dependence on God. Each valley has taught you how to hear the shepherd's voice when everything else is silent. What felt like chaos has secretly been training. You are stronger than you realize because you have been fighting battles others could not even see. Think of the moments where you felt utterly alone, as if heaven itself had gone silent. In those moments, angels were still surrounding you. Even when you could not feel it, heaven was still active, shielding you from unseen attacks, preserving you for this very day. If you are alive to hear these words, it means every strategy of hell has failed. Chosen one, I will tell you plainly, you will face battles again. You will feel resistance again. But from this moment forward, you must see them differently, no longer as random afflictions, but as confirmations that you are walking the right path, no longer as signs of weakness, but as evidence that you carry something too powerful to be ignored. And when the darkness presses against you, remember Romans 8, you are more than a conqueror. That means you are not simply surviving, you are overwhelming the opposition. Every time you rise again, you humiliate the forces of darkness. Every time you keep going, you prove that the light within you cannot be extinguished. Chosen one, the unseen battle around you is real, but so is your victory. Your scars are not shame, they are medals of survival. Your tears are not wasted, they are seeds that will bloom into strength. You may not always understand the warfare, but you can rest in this truth. Heaven has already declared your triumph. Stand tall in this knowledge. You are not abandoned on the battlefield. You are not powerless in the face of resistance. You are marked, protected, and equipped. The unseen war around you is fierce, but the presence within you is greater still. Chosen one, you know the voice of doubt. Well, it has whispered to you in the quiet, telling you that you are not enough, that you will never rise, that your prayers are wasted breath. Those lies have become like background noise, so constant that at times you believed them. But hear me now, those voices are not the truth. They are static, sent to drown out the song of heaven over your life. The enemy's oldest weapon is deception. He does not need to chain your hands if he can cloud your mind. He does not need to close doors if he can convince you they will never open. He does not need to bind your feet if he can persuade you to stand still in fear. That is why heaven is stepping in to silence the false voices and remind you of the eternal voice that cannot be silenced. Scripture says in the Gospel of John, chapter 10, verse 27, "My sheep listen to my voice, I know them, and they follow me." Notice what is revealed here. You were not designed to be confused. You were created to recognize the voice of your shepherd above every counterfeit, the doubts, the lies, the false whispers they may shout, but they cannot outlast the steady, guiding tone of your God. Think of a lighthouse on a stormy night. Waves crash, winds howl, darkness surrounds, yet the steady beam pierces through, guiding the lost ship home. That is God's voice to you. The storms may rage, but His signal is unwavering. All you need to do is keep your eyes fixed on the light and your ears tuned to His call. Chosen one. The doubts are not stronger than you. They are simply louder for a time. Like smoke, they can cloud your vision, but they cannot choke out the truth of who you are. When heaven speaks, the smoke clears. When God whispers, the lies dissolve. And in this moment, He is saying, "You are mine. You are chosen. You are not what the voices of darkness declared." And here, beloved, is where I must ask something of you. If this message has touched even the smallest part of your heart, I invite you to let your response be seen. Like this message, not for me, but as a signal that you choose the voice of heaven above the lies. Share it not as obligation, but as a torch you pass on to another weary traveler who may be lost in the same fog. Subscribe not as routine, but as a way of staying anchored, so that whenever storms rise, you will always have a steady word to guide you back to the light. And yes, even consider giving, supporting, donating, not because you are pressured, but because sowing into the soil of God's word multiplies the harvest for yourself and for countless others who will hear this truth. It is like planting seeds in a field. One seed in the ground can feed many who come after. Your generosity becomes light in places you may never step into yourself. Do not think of it as charity. Think of it as pouring oil into a lamp so that the flame can keep burning. Think of it as adding another stone to the lighthouse that guides lost ships home. Think of it as strengthening the net so that more souls can be pulled safely from the waters of despair. When you support, when you share, when you engage, you are not just helping me, you are helping heaven's voice echo louder than the lies of darkness. You are amplifying light in a world desperately searching for it. Chosen one. The lies told you that you are alone, but you are not. This very moment proves it. Across the world, others are hearing the same call, feeling the same stirring, walking the same journey. When you choose to stand with this message, you are linking arms with a family of chosen ones who refuse to bow to the voice of doubt. So let your action today be a declaration. Every like is a strike against silence. Every share is a flare in the night sky, guiding another heart home. Every subscription is a commitment to stay connected to the flow of truth. Every gift, every donation is oil poured into the flame, ensuring the light never goes out. Chosen one, you are part of something bigger than yourself. You are a keeper of light, a carrier of truth, a silencer of lies. Heaven is silencing doubt around you, and you are called to help silence it for others too. Lift your head, quiet the noise. Tune your heart once more to the shepherd's voice. His words are clear. You are chosen. You are mine. You are loved. Chosen one. There comes a moment in every divine journey where heaven calls for alignment. It is not enough to simply hear the word. You must respond. You must mark your agreement. You must place a seal upon what has been spoken over your life. That moment is now. You have walked through rejection. You have endured storms. You have carried mantles you did not always understand. And yet, you are still standing. That alone is proof of divine preservation. The reason you survived what others did not is because you are not just another face in the crowd. You are chosen. You are marked. You are appointed. Heaven speaks clearly through the words in Deuteronomy, chapter 31, verse 6. Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid or terrified because of them. For the Lord your God goes with you. He will never leave you nor forsake you. This is not a distant promise written only for the past. It is alive for you right now. Every fear that has whispered, every doubt that has tried to strangle your faith, stands powerless in the light of this truth. You are not abandoned, and you never will be. Think of a soldier in battle, alone. His courage falters, surrounded. His courage multiplies. That is what heaven is reminding you today. You are not walking alone into the fire. You are accompanied by the one who commands angels, who speaks and mountains move, who holds galaxies in his hand, yet knows your name with tender care. Chosen one. This is why you must take action. Agreement is powerful. It is not enough to nod silently inside your heart. There must be a sign, a declaration, a prophetic act that says, I believe, I align, I receive. So I invite you right now to type this number in the comments, 888. Why this number? Because it carries the symbol of new beginnings, multiplied. One beginning is not enough for you. Your story is layered. Your restoration will come in waves. Your life will see doors open, not once, but again and again. The cycle of struggle breaks here, and the pattern of renewal begins. Typing 888 is not superstition, it is alignment. It is you saying, I step into the rhythm of heaven's renewal. I accept the fresh start being written over my life. Do not underestimate the power of this small act. When you write it, you are not just pressing keys, you are striking the airwaves with a prophetic declaration. You are marking yourself before heaven, before angels, and even before the forces of darkness that have tried to stop you. It is as if you are planting a flag in the ground, declaring, Here I stand. I will not be moved. I claim my new beginning. Think of a seed in the soil. It looks small, even insignificant, but inside it carries forests. That is what your agreement does. A single step of obedience carries the power to multiply blessings far beyond what you can see. You may think your comment is small, but in the spirit, it echoes loudly. Chosen one has aligned with heaven. And understand this, not everyone will do it. Some will scroll past, too distracted, too hesitant, too caught in the noise. But you are not like the rest. If heaven paused your life long enough to bring you here, then you cannot treat this moment as casual. It is a divine intersection, and your response matters. Chosen one. The journey ahead is not without its trials, but with every trial comes fresh grace. With every obstacle comes new strength, and with every beginning comes multiplied opportunities to walk in the fullness of your calling. The number 888 is your reminder that heaven writes your story in chapters of endless renewal, where others saw endings. God will write beginnings, where others saw ashes. He will raise beauty, where others saw failure. He will announce triumph. So take this seriously. Type the number. Mark your agreement. And let this moment be remembered, not just as another message you heard, but as the turning point where you declared with your own hands, I align with the God who never leaves me. I step into the cycle of renewal, and I will not miss my appointed season. Chosen one, heaven has paused for you again. Respond, align, seal it. Let the world know. Let the heavens see, and let the darkness tremble. You are stepping into new beginnings without end. Chosen one, you have often wondered why your life has carried long seasons of silence and solitude. Why doors closed when you knocked with faith? Why voices you trusted disappeared without explanation? Why your journey felt lonelier than you ever expected? But hear me clearly. Isolation was never punishment. It was preparation. There is a mystery in how heaven works. The ones marked with great assignments are often pulled away from the noise so their ears can be tuned to the still, small voice of God. While others flourish in crowds, you were hidden in shadows. While others celebrated together, you sat alone with questions. It hurt. It cut deep, but it also carved out a space inside you that no distraction could fill. We are reminded through the writings of David in the Psalms, chapter 25, verse 14. The Lord confides in those who fear him. He makes his covenant known to them. Do you see the secret here? Intimacy requires separation. Secrets are not shouted in busy marketplaces. They are whispered in quiet rooms. That is why God allowed your circle to shrink, your phone to go silent, your path to narrow, because he desired to whisper secrets into your spirit that could not be heard in the noise. Think of a seed buried underground. To the outside world, it looks like nothing, hidden, forgotten, covered in darkness. But beneath the soil, transformation is happening. Roots are forming. Strength is developing. Life is stirring. One day, that hidden seed will break through the ground, not because it was punished, but because it was prepared in secret. That has been your life. What looked like burial was actually planting. Chosen one. You were never abandoned in isolation. You were being positioned. Every tear cried in silence watered the soil of your destiny. Every unanswered question carved out deeper capacity for revelation. Every season of waiting built endurance in your spirit. While others were celebrated publicly, you were being strengthened privately. Heaven was building a foundation in you that could not be shaken by applause or destroyed by criticism. Your isolation has also exposed who you truly are. Without the noise of others defining you, you discovered strength you did not know you had. You realized that your worth is not measured by invitations, compliments, or approval. In the silence, you discovered that your identity rests in the one who called you chosen before the world knew your name. Do not despise the lonely places. Beloved, they are sacred classrooms where heaven teaches lessons unavailable anywhere else. It is in the wilderness that prophets hear God. It is in caves that kings are forged. It is in prisons that dreamers learn to interpret visions. The silence of isolation is not the absence of God. It is the intensified presence of God shaping you into someone unshakable. and look at the fruit already, the compassion you carry, the depth of your insight, the resilience of your heart. These were not born in comfort. They were born in solitude. People may marvel at your strength, but they do not know the secret. Strength was forged in nights when you had nothing but God's whisper to hold on to. Chosen one. Even the loneliness you feared has served a purpose. It has taught you that you are never truly alone. It has sharpened your ears to hear the shepherd's voice. It has shown you that while crowds may vanish, the covenant remains. God never stepped away. Even when people did, He was not punishing you. He was training you to walk with Him more closely than others dare to. The day will come when the hidden season ends. Just as the seed eventually breaks through the soil, you will emerge. And when you do, the strength of your roots will sustain you in ways others cannot understand. What once looked like delay will reveal itself as strategy. What once felt like rejection will shine as protection. What once seemed like abandonment will prove to have been preparation. Chosen one. Trust the process of your hidden seasons. Do not curse the silence, for it is filled with the whispers of God. Do not resent the solitude, for it has carved in you a strength that will carry nations. Do not despise the waiting, for it is shaping the patience required to carry great glory without falling. You are not forgotten. You are not wasted. You are planted, hidden for a time, prepared for an unveiling. And when heaven decides the moment is right, the world will see the fruit of what was cultivated in the secret place. Your isolation has been necessary. Your loneliness has been holy ground. And your story is proof that sometimes the greatest blessings come disguised as seasons we would never choose, yet could never live without. Chosen one. There is a moment in every journey when the waiting bends toward breakthrough. You have felt the tension of delay, the weight of unanswered prayers, the ache of promises that seem to tarry. But listen carefully. Delay is not denial. Heaven has been aligning circumstances, refining your heart, and preparing the ground. Now, the turning point has arrived. At times, it felt like nothing was moving. Doors stayed shut. Opportunities slipped through your fingers, and silence stretched longer than you thought you could bear. You wondered if perhaps you misheard God, if perhaps the vision was an illusion, if maybe your prayers had gone unheard. But those questions themselves reveal the truth. You cared too much to give up, even when you felt like letting go. As was spoken in the sacred texts of old, Isaiah chapter 60, verse 22 declares, "When the time is right, I, the Lord, will make it happen swiftly." These words are a key for your spirit. The timing of heaven is never late, though it often feels slow to us. And when the appointed moment arrives, what seemed delayed for years can shift in an instant. Think of the tide at the seashore. For long stretches it appears still, almost unchanging. And then suddenly it surges forward with unstoppable force. That is how divine timing works. It builds quietly, invisibly, until the very second appointed by God. Then, what was stagnant becomes unstoppable. Chosen one. The turning point in your life is not just about one open door. It is about a shift in atmosphere. The weight that held you down is breaking. The clouds of confusion are parting. The rhythm of delay is giving way to acceleration. What took others decades will unfold for you in sudden moments, because heaven has been preparing not only the opportunity, but also your capacity to carry it. You must understand, waiting seasons are never wasted. They sharpen discernment. They expose motives. They break pride. They purify desires. Without the waiting, the blessing would crush rather than sustain. That is why your waiting was longer than others. You are called to steward more, so you were required to endure more. Look closely at your journey. Notice how certain doors only stayed closed until you learned certain lessons. Notice how opportunities returned only when you had the strength to hold them properly. Notice how every delay, though painful, eventually revealed itself as divine strategy. You were being saved from premature exposure, from counterfeit offers, from paths that looked promising but would have destroyed you. And now, the shifting is here. You will begin to see small signs at first, unexpected messages, opportunities appearing out of nowhere, doors you had long stopped knocking on suddenly opening again. Do not dismiss these as coincidence. They are signals that the tide is turning. Heaven has whispered, "Now," and creation responds. Chosen one, your heart may still carry weariness from the waiting, but do not let that fatigue blind you to the signs of breakthrough. You have endured too much to stop now. The turning point is not coming, it has already begun. Your spirit can feel it, even if your eyes cannot yet see it fully. The restlessness in your heart is not anxiety, it is anticipation. Think of a woman in labor. The pain intensifies. The contractions grow closer. The struggle feels unbearable. And then suddenly, new life bursts forth. That is the pattern of destiny. The darkest night often comes just before the dawn. The hardest battles often break open the greatest victories. The deepest pain often precedes the most radiant joy. So, beloved, embrace this shift with open hands. Do not cling to old disappointments, for they cannot follow you into this new season. Do not let fear whisper that nothing will change, because heaven has already spoken change over you. Do not doubt your worthiness, for the very fact you have endured is proof that you are ready. The turning point is not simply about receiving blessings, it is about stepping into alignment. It is about walking through doors that heaven has opened, not striving to force open doors that were never yours. It is about recognizing that the delay has ended and the appointed time has arrived. Chosen one, breathe this truth deep into your spirit. What felt like endless waiting has been building towards sudden release. You are crossing from preparation into fulfillment, from delay into acceleration, from silence into manifestation. And when it happens, it will not be small. It will not be hidden. It will not be fragile. It will be undeniable, unstoppable, and unshakable. For when heaven decides, nothing on earth or in hell can delay it one moment longer. Chosen one, there are moments when hesitation becomes the greatest enemy of destiny. You have heard the call. You have felt the stirring. And you have seen the signs. But now comes the moment to act. To delay is to risk missing the window of breakthrough. To respond is to step fully into the identity heaven has been shaping within you. Fear often disguises itself as careful thinking. It tells you to wait a little longer, to gather more proof, to avoid risk. But behind that mask, fear is stealing your time. Every day you hesitate is another day the enemy gains ground. Destiny does not bow to endless delay. It responds to bold decisions. Remember, faith has always been about movement. Abraham left his homeland without a map. Peter stepped out of the boat before the water was calm. None of them waited for guarantees. They moved because God had spoken. The same call is placed before you now, to move, to act, to step beyond hesitation. Chosen one. Heaven does not require you to be perfect. It requires you to be willing. The moment you say yes, the moment you act, grace fills the gaps. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is choosing to act even while fear whispers. The Apostle reminds us in the letter to James, chapter 1, verse 8. Such a person is double-minded and unstable in all they do. That question was not asked to confuse, but to demand a decision. The same demand stands before you now. Hesitation cannot carry you forward. Only response can. For too long, you may have second-guessed yourself. You wondered if you were really chosen. You questioned if your voice mattered, if your steps would make any difference. But hear this truth. Indecision is itself a decision. To stand still is to agree with delay. To shrink back is to align with fear. But when you rise, when you declare, when you step forward, you shatter the chains of hesitation and activate the flow of destiny. Chosen one. You are not meant to wander endlessly at the crossroads. Heaven has lit the path before you. What feels like confusion is not because the way is unclear, it is because fear has tried to blind your vision. But courage is rising. Clarity is breaking through. The moment to act is here. Do not wait for the perfect conditions. The seas did not part until Moses raised his staff. The walls of Jericho did not fall until the people shouted. Miracles move in response to action. Your willingness to act is the spark that ignites heaven's power. And so, I invite you now to do more than simply hear. Respond. Let your voice be heard. In the comments, type these words, I choose now. Why these words? Because they are short, simple, and powerful. They cut through hesitation. They silence the voice of delay. They proclaim with clarity that you will no longer waver. Writing I choose now is a prophetic act of alignment. It is you saying to heaven, to yourself, and even to the unseen opposition, my decision is made. I step forward. I claim my calling. Think of a soldier standing on the edge of battle. The hesitation is heavy, but when he shouts his charge, his entire being aligns with courage. That is what happens when you type these words. You are not just commenting, you are declaring a charge to your own soul. You are stirring your spirit into action. Chosen one. The time of delay has ended. The turning point you have longed for has arrived, but it demands your participation. God will not force your obedience. He invites it. He will not drag you into destiny. He calls you to walk into it. And your declaration today is your answer. I choose now. Do not underestimate the weight of these 3 words. They are more than text. They are testimony. They are your reminder tomorrow when fear tries again. They are your anchor when doubt whispers once more. They are your marker that you have shifted from waiting to walking. Others may scroll past, thinking the moment is small, but you know better. You recognize the power of prophetic acts. You know that small steps open great doors. And when you declare, I choose now, heaven registers it. Angels respond to it. And the forces that once resisted you are shaken by it. Beloved, you have waited long enough. You have questioned long enough. You have carried uncertainty long enough. The moment has come for boldness. The moment has come for clarity. The moment has come for you to stand firm. to silence, hesitation, to step forward into the fullness of who you are. So lift your head, breathe deep, and declare with your spirit, your voice, and your written word, I choose now, chosen one. Crowns are not given in the marketplace, they are fashioned in secret. The world often imagines crowns as glittering jewels placed upon the heads of royalty in public ceremony. But the crowns prepared for you are not shaped in shallow applause or fleeting approval. They are being crafted in silence, forged in hidden places where only heaven's eyes can see. You may not realize it, but every trial you have endured has been weaving gold into your crown. Every act of obedience when no one was watching has added another jewel. Every tear shed in faith, every sacrifice made in secret, every moment you chose righteousness over compromise has been shaping something eternal. Crowns are not made in comfort, they are forged in fire, polished through pressure, and revealed only in appointed time. There are treasures in heaven that cannot be measured by gold or silver, rewards that cannot be touched by rust or decay. The crowns being prepared for you are not trophies of earthly competition, but living symbols of perseverance. They tell the story of every yes whispered through tears, every step taken when strength was gone, every act of faith that seemed invisible to others. While the world crowns entertainers and kings, heaven crowns the faithful, the ones who endured silently, who chose light over darkness when no applause was present. That is the crown being fashioned for you. Imagine a jeweler at work. He does not rush. He bends close, carving with precision, polishing with care. To an untrained eye, the process may seem tedious, even unnecessary, but the jeweler knows each cut, each polish, is essential to reveal the brilliance hidden within the stone. That is what God is doing with you. Every hardship is a cut, shaping your character. Every trial is a polish, preparing your spirit. The pain is not wasted, it is preparation for a brilliance yet unseen. And one day, when your race is finished and your story complete, the crown crafted in silence will be revealed in splendor. You will see the jewels of your faith shine with eternal glory. Every sacrifice, every unseen act of obedience, every hidden moment of prayer will radiate as part of your eternal reward. Then you will understand fully. The weight you carried was never in vain. The secret fire, the lonely path, the unseen tears, all of it has been shaping a crown that no thief can steal. No time can fade. No power can remove. We find in the first letter of Peter, chapter 5, verse 4, "And when the chief shepherd appears, you will receive the crown of glory that will never fade away." These words remind you that heaven notices what earth forgets. What seems unseen here will be honored there. Think of a tree in winter. Its branches look bare, stripped, lifeless, yet underground, deep in the soil. Roots are growing stronger. Though no fruit is visible, preparation is underway. That is what God has been doing in your life. While the world thought you were empty, He was cultivating unseen strength, unseen beauty, unseen crowns. And this is where I must speak to your heart, gently, yet directly. If these words are feeding your spirit, I invite you to let your gratitude overflow in action. Like this message, not as a casual click, but as a way of saying, yes, I recognize the crown being formed in me. Share it not as obligation, but as the way a traveler lights another's torch in the night. Subscribe not just to follow, but to stay tethered to the steady stream of truth that will sustain you in seasons to come. And if your heart is stirred, consider giving, donating, solving, not because of pressure, but because generosity is oil poured into the lamp that keeps the flame alive. Imagine a lighthouse on a rocky shore. Its beams save ships in the night. But without oil, the flame would die. Your support is oil. It ensures the light continues, reaching others who are still lost in storm. Think of it also as planting seeds in fertile ground. One seed does not remain a seed. It multiplies into harvest. What you release in faith is not lost. It grows into fruit you may never see with your own eyes, but countless others will taste. Chosen one, every act of giving, whether through your time, your words, or your resources, becomes another jewel set into the unseen crown being prepared for you. It is not wasted. It is recorded. It is remembered. Heaven keeps perfect account of every sacrifice made with love. So do not despise the hidden seasons. Do not resent the unseen sacrifices. They are the very moments heaven treasures most. When the time comes, when the veil lifts, when the eternal is revealed, you will see the crowns prepared in secret, placed upon your head in glory, and you will realize it was all worth it. Beloved, you are walking toward a day when what was hidden will be celebrated. Until then, keep serving, keep giving, keep walking faithfully. The crowns are being prepared even now, and your obedience is adding weight to their glory. Chosen one, you have felt the flames, the seasons of life when it seemed as though fire surrounded you, consuming everything familiar and leaving you standing in ashes. The trials that stripped away comfort, the losses that cut so deep you thought you would never heal. Yet, even in the fire, you endured. What others thought would destroy you has only refined you. There is a holy mystery in fire. To the world, it appears destructive, but to heaven, it is transformative. Gold does not shine until it passes through heat. Steel does not harden until it faces flame. In the same way, your soul has been forged through fire. You are not fragile, you are refined. Every blaze you survived has made you stronger, purer, and more radiant than before. It was proclaimed in the prophet Isaiah, chapter 43, verse 2, "When you walk through the fire, you will not be burned. The flames will not set you ablaze." This promise is not just poetic, it is personal. It means the fire you faced was never meant to consume you, only to cleanse you. The flames were boundaries, controlled by the hand of God, designed to shape but never to destroy. Chosen one, think back to the moments that felt like the end, the phone call that shattered your heart, the betrayal that pierced your trust, the season when prayers felt unanswered and nights felt endless. In those moments, you believed the fire would devour you, but you stand here now as living proof that it did not. The fire passed, but you remained. And not only remained, you emerged stronger than before. Like a potter who places clay into a kiln, God has allowed you to pass through heat so that your form would be set. Clay left unbaked remains fragile, easily broken. But once it has endured the fire, it cannot return to its former weakness. That is what your trials have done for you. You cannot go back to fragility your strength has been sealed by fire. Chosen one, this is why your spirit carries resilience others cannot explain. You have walked through what would have crushed them. You have endured nights that would have broken their will. But because of the refining fire, you now carry a depth, a strength, a wisdom that cannot be taught in books or classrooms. It was learned in flames. Understand this. The enemy believed the fire would silence you. He thought it would consume your hope, strip your faith, and end your purpose. But heaven turned the fire into your forge. What was meant to break you became the very process that built you. You are not scarred beyond repair, you are sealed with unshakable strength. And though the memories of the fire remain, they no longer sting in the same way. They are now testimonies, proof of endurance, reminders that nothing can destroy what God preserves. Every scar on your soul has become a mark of victory, declaring that the flames did not win. Chosen one. Never forget, fire reveals authenticity. Counterfeits melt, imitations collapse. But the genuine endures. The fact that you are still here proves your faith is real. Your calling is true, and your spirit is unshakable. What burned away were not the essentials of your identity, but the excess, the impurities, the weights that could not travel with you into your destiny. So lift your eyes from the ashes. Do not mourn what was lost, for it was never meant to remain. What you gained in the fire is greater than what you lost in it. You gained resilience, wisdom, endurance, and a spirit that will not bend to the storm. You gained authenticity, purity, and a testimony that silences every lie of the enemy. Beloved, you are fire-forged. That is why your words carry weight. That is why your presence disrupts darkness. That is why your journey, though painful, has become powerful. You did not simply survive, you were transformed, and the refining is not over. More fires may come, but now you know their secret. They cannot consume you. They can only shape you. Each flame is another forge, another strengthening, another polishing of the jewel heaven is creating within you. Chosen one. Stand tall. Let the world see the resilience the fire has produced in you. Do not hide your scars, they are proof of survival. Do not despise the flames, they have made you radiant. You are not fragile clay anymore. You are unbreakable, forged through fire, crowned with endurance. Chosen one. There are moments in your journey when heaven calls you to mark a new chapter, to declare with your own hands that you are ready for the next dimension of your destiny. This is one of those moments. You have endured the refining fire, and now you stand on the threshold of completion and new beginnings. Every cycle of pain has an end. Every season of waiting eventually gives way to fulfillment. And every path of wandering leads at last to a place of rest. Heaven is announcing to you today, the old chapter is closed. The new one is opening. But to step into it fully, you must place a seal upon it with your agreement. The shift you are sensing is not random. It is the unfolding of divine timing. Just as the sunrise cannot be rushed, yet always arrives. Your new chapter has been waiting for its appointed hour, and now that hour has come. The darkness you endured was simply the prelude to dawn, and heaven is inviting you to step into the light of renewal. Chosen one. Let your heart rest in this truth. Nothing you lost will outweigh what is coming. The old chapter ended not to leave you empty, but to clear the space for fullness. Your agreement today is the key that unlocks tomorrow's abundance. The Word of God declares in the book of Revelation, chapter 21, verse 5, "He who was seated on the throne said, 'I am making everything new.' Then he said, 'Write this down, for these words are trustworthy and true.'" These are not distant words about someone else's future. They are the living declaration over your life right now. Everything, your heart, your vision, your relationships, your path is being renewed. Chosen one. This is why you have felt such a stirring lately. The old things no longer fit. The old mindsets feel heavy. The old habits no longer bring peace. It is because you are being invited into newness, into a chapter where your past no longer dictates your present. Renewal is not coming. It has already begun. But there is power in agreement. You cannot remain silent in this moment. Heaven is extending an invitation, and your response is the key that opens the door. So now, I ask you to mark your alignment with a prophetic number. Type this in the comments. 444. Why 444? Because it is a number of completion wrapped in stability. It signifies the building of foundations that cannot be shaken, the establishment of structures that will endure. It is heaven's reminder that what is being made new in you is not fragile or temporary, it is solid, eternal, trustworthy, and true. When you write 444, you are not just adding numbers on a screen. You are saying, "I embrace the new. I agree with heaven's renewal. I step into a chapter that cannot be stolen or destroyed." It is a prophetic act of sealing what God has already begun. Chosen one. Think of an artist painting a masterpiece. The canvas seems messy at first, strokes unfinished, colors colliding, shapes unclear, but at the appointed time, the artist leans back, adds the final touches, and declares, "It is complete." That is what heaven is doing over you now. What once felt chaotic is revealing itself as intentional design. What once felt unfinished is now crowned with completion. This number, 444, is your final brush stroke of agreement. It is your way of saying, "Yes, Lord, finish what you have started. I welcome the stability, the strength, the unshakable foundation you are building in me." Do not dismiss this act as small. In the spiritual realm, small acts carry eternal weight. A simple comment becomes a covenant. A prophetic number becomes a seal. A moment of obedience becomes a doorway into transformation. Beloved, you have carried heavy burdens, but they are being lifted. You have walked through endings, but they have prepared you for beginnings. You have endured loss, but it has cleared space for abundance. The new is here, and heaven is asking you to embrace it fully. When you type 444, let it be more than numbers. Let it be your prayer. Let it be your testimony. Let it be your covenant with heaven that you will not cling to the old any longer. You will walk boldly into the new, trusting that the one who sits on the throne is faithful to finish what he started. Chosen one. This moment is holy. Do not let it pass by without your response. Mark it. Seal it. Step into it. The door of newness is wide open, and all that is required is your yes. Chosen one. Do you realize how your very presence unsettles the plans of darkness? You may not always feel powerful, but in the unseen realm, you are a flame that cannot be ignored. Wherever you walk, light enters. And when light enters, darkness trembles. That is why you have experienced such opposition, not because you are weak, but because you are dangerous to the kingdom of darkness. The apostle reminds us in his second letter to the Corinthians, chapter 4, verse 6, "For God, who said, 'Let light shine out of darkness,' made his light shine in our hearts, to give us the light of the knowledge of God's glory displayed in the face of Christ." This is not a poetic metaphor, it is a reality. The very same power that commanded light to burst forth at creation now resides within you. That is why the darkness cannot comprehend you, cannot contain you, cannot extinguish you. Chosen one. Think of what happens when a candle is lit in a dark room. The shadows scatter instantly. They do not fight, they simply cannot remain. The presence of light makes their retreat unavoidable. That is the impact of your spirit. Without realizing it, you shift atmospheres, you break patterns, you expose lies simply by being who you are. But perhaps you have felt the opposite. You have felt misunderstood, excluded, resisted by people who could not explain why they were uncomfortable around you. Do not misinterpret this. It is not that you are unworthy of belonging. It is that the light you carry reveals what others are not ready to confront. Some rejected you, not because of who you are, but because your presence revealed what they were trying to hide. This is why your life has carried so much spiritual warfare. The enemy has tried again and again to silence your voice, to crush your confidence, to make you doubt the light within you. If you ever believed the lie that you are ordinary, darkness would rest easier. But because you keep rising, because you keep shining even through wounds, the enemy sees you as a threat. Chosen one. Remember this truth. Light does not need to shout. It does not argue with shadows. It simply shines, and its very existence changes everything. You do not need to strive endlessly to prove yourself. All you must do is remain in alignment with the source, and your light will continue to burn bright. Think of the sun. It does not apologize for shining. It does not dim itself to make night comfortable. It simply radiates, and life flourishes in its presence. That is what you are called to do. To shine without apology. To radiate without hesitation. To carry your light boldly into every space that has been suffocated by shadows. And yet, light is not without cost. Candles burn as they shine. Oil is consumed to fuel the flame. You have felt this cost in your own life, the weariness, the sacrifices, the battles fought silently. But remember, the source of your light is not your own strength. It flows from the eternal flame of God within you, a fire that cannot be extinguished. Chosen one. Do not underestimate the impact of your presence. Every smile, every prayer, every word spoken in truth has ripples in the unseen. You may never know the full effect of your light until eternity reveals it. But trust that it is real. Even now, lives are shifting because you chose to shine rather than hide. The world is darker than ever. But that is precisely why you were placed here. Stars are not noticed in daylight, they are seen in the night. Your light was meant for such a time as this, where others despair. You will carry hope, where others surrender. You will stand, where others are silent. You will speak. So let your heart rest in this truth. You do not need to fear the darkness. Darkness fears you. The light within you is not fragile. It is not temporary. It is eternal. unshakable, divine. And as long as you remain connected to the source, your flame will never fade. Chosen one, walk boldly into every space you enter, knowing that your very presence disrupts the plans of the enemy. Shine, not with striving, but with the quiet confidence of one who knows they carry heaven's flame. For your light terrifies darkness, and your destiny is to shine until every shadow flees. Chosen one, you have grown used to waiting, to praying with patience, to watching doors stay shut, even when you knocked with faith. But the time of delay is shifting. The doors that once seemed immovable are about to swing open, not because of human permission, but because heaven has spoken. No lock forged by man can resist when God declares, "Open now." Sometimes you wondered if perhaps the keys were lost, if maybe the path ahead had been forgotten, but heaven never misplaces what belongs to you. The delay was not silence, it was strategy, waiting for the exact moment when the opening would serve its fullest purpose in your life. Chosen one, doors open when alignment meets timing, just as dawn breaks only when night has run its course. So your season of waiting ends exactly when it must. No power on earth can rush it, and no darkness can stop it. When God speaks, even iron gates must yield. As Jesus himself declared in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 7, verse 7, "Ask and it will be given to you, seek and you will find, knock and the door will be opened to you." These words have echoed for centuries, yet they are living and active in your life today. Your knocking has not been in vain. The silence has not been neglect. Heaven was aligning, preparing, and waiting for the appointed moment. Chosen one. Think of a gate rusted shut for years. You push, and it does not move. You push again, and it creaks, but resists. Then one day, with the lightest touch, it swings wide as if it had been waiting for you all along. That is how divine timing works. What resisted you before will now yield effortlessly, not because the gate changed, but because the season did. Every closed door has carried purpose. Some were protection, shielding you from paths that looked promising but hid destruction. Others were preparation, waiting for your heart and your spirit to be strong enough to carry what was on the other side. What felt like rejection was redirection. What looked like denial was delay until the foundation was ready. And now, you are entering the season of sudden openings. The opportunities you thought had passed you by will reappear. The relationships that seemed impossible will be restored. The visions that lay dormant will awaken, not because you forced them, but because heaven has appointed the time. Chosen one, you must see that these doors are not ordinary. They are not doors of convenience, but doors of calling. When they open, they will lead you into places where your light is needed most, where your voice will carry influence, where your purpose will be fulfilled. These doors are not about comfort, they are about destiny. Think of Joseph, locked in a prison one day and standing in Pharaoh's palace the next. Think of Esther, hidden in obscurity until the crown placed her in the center of history. Think of Peter, chained between guards until the angel touched the iron gate and it opened by itself. This is the pattern of sudden doors. They do not open gradually, they open instantly, undeniably, supernaturally. Chosen one. Prepare yourself. The door that opens will not look like the doors you have seen before. It may not fit your expectations, but it will fit your calling. It will not be about status, but about impact. It will not be about recognition, but about obedience. And when you walk through it, you will realize every delay was worth it, because the timing is perfect. Do not let fear hold you back when the door swings open. Fear will whisper that you are not ready, that you are unqualified, that you are not enough. Silence that lie. The very fact that the door opens for you is proof that heaven has judged you ready. Your preparation is complete. Your roots are deep. Your light is steady. Chosen one. The doors that are opening now are not small, they are significant. They are doors that will shift not just your life, but the lives of those around you. They are doors that will bring you into alignment with the vision heaven wrote over you before your birth. And when you step through, everything will change. So, watch closely. Pay attention to the subtle signs. Do not dismiss the sudden opportunities as coincidence. Heaven is at work, and the sound of opening doors is already echoing around you. Walk boldly when the moment comes, for these doors will not require you to strive. They will yield to you because they were written for you from the beginning. Chosen one. You were not called just to survive. You were called to carry the flame. You were chosen not only to endure storms, but to emerge from them with fire in your hands. A light entrusted to you for the sake of others still stumbling in the dark. You are a torchbearer, one who carries the presence of God into places where shadows thought they would reign forever. This is why your journey has felt heavier than most. You are not just walking for yourself, you are carrying light for those who cannot yet see. Every struggle you survived added fuel to the fire. Every tear watered the flame. You are not simply a survivor, you are a carrier of hope, entrusted with a fire that must never be hidden. The Spirit spoke through the prophet Jeremiah, chapter 20, verse 9. But if I say, he will not mention his word or speak anymore in his name, his word is a fire in my heart. This is the reality of your calling. The flame within you cannot be contained. It demands to be carried, shared, and released. Think of a lantern lit in the night. Its glow may seem small, but to the lost traveler, it is hope, direction, and life itself. That is you, chosen one. Your flame may feel modest, but for someone else, it is the very light that will guide them home. This is why you cannot hide what you carry. To hide the flame would be to deny those searching for it. But carrying the flame is not without cost. Flames require fuel. And every act of obedience, every sacrifice, every offering of your heart becomes oil for the lamp. When you pray, when you give, when you share, you are pouring oil into the fire. Without oil, even the brightest flame will dim, but with steady fuel, it grows, it spreads, it lights up even the darkest valley. That is why I invite you now. Do not let the flame remain hidden. If this word resonates in your spirit, let your agreement be visible, like this message, not as routine, but as your way of saying, yes, the flame still burns in me. Share it not as an obligation, but as a torch passed to another traveler who desperately needs light. Subscribe, not for numbers, but to remain close to the fire, where your spirit can be stirred again and again. And for those moved to do so, give, donate, support, not because you are pressured, but because your generosity becomes oil that keeps the lamp burning. Think of a lighthouse on a stormy sea. The light within it saves countless lives. Yet it requires constant tending. Your giving is that tending. It ensures the light never goes out. Not for you. Not for the countless others who will hear these words after you. Consider also this: every act of engagement, every comment you leave, becomes a spark that feeds the flame. Write your response below. Not long paragraphs, but even a few heartfelt words. Perhaps simply declare, "The flame lives." When you do, it is more than text on a screen. It is testimony. It is you declaring to heaven and to your own heart that the fire within you will not die. Chosen one. Flames spread when they are shared. A single candle may seem small, but when it lights another, and another, and another, soon the entire night glows. That is the power of community, of connection, of refusing to carry the flame alone. When you engage, when you share, when you sow, you are multiplying light. Do not underestimate the impact of what seems small. One click, one share, one donation may feel like a drop in the ocean, but drops become streams. Streams become rivers, and rivers carve valleys of transformation. Your act today, however small, contributes to a fire that cannot be quenched. Chosen one. The world is darker than ever, but that is precisely why your flame matters. Heaven entrusted it to you, not to keep for yourself, but to carry boldly, to share freely, to fan into an inferno of hope. And as you act, liking, sharing, subscribing, soving, commenting, you are not only tending your flame, but also igniting countless others. The call is clear. Do not let hesitation silence you. Do not let weariness dim your flame. Act, carry, shine, for you are chosen to bear the fire, and the world is waiting for the light you carry. Chosen one. Storms have been a constant in your journey. You have known the sound of winds that threatened to break you, the sudden waves that crashed without warning, the seasons when you wondered if your vessel would survive. Yet here you are, still afloat, still pressing forward. The storms that came to sink you became the very waters that carried you closer to your destiny. Storms are never random. They arrive to test, to reveal, to strengthen, and though they rage with fury, they are never beyond the control of the one who called you. What felt like chaos was often the classroom where you learned endurance, patience, and trust. The storms you feared became the stage where God revealed himself as anchor and refuge. There were nights when you thought the storm would never end, when lightning flashed and thunder echoed louder than your prayers. Yet in those very nights, heaven was closer than you realized. Angels stood guard while you trembled. The same waves that frightened you were carrying you toward shores you could not yet see, shaping your faith in ways only storms can. Chosen one. Storms strip away illusion. They expose foundations and reveal what truly holds. When the winds of loss blew and the rains of betrayal fell, you discovered that applause and approval could not sustain you. Only the eternal anchor could. And now, because of those storms, your roots run deeper, your vision clearer, your spirit stronger than before. As was spoken in the sacred text of Nahum, chapter 1, verse 7, "The Lord is good, a refuge in times of trouble." He cares for those who trust in Him. These words are not a promise of a stormless life. They are the assurance of safety within the storm. Trouble may rise, winds may howl, but the hand of God remains steady. Unshaken, unbroken, chosen one. Think of a tree planted deep in the earth. When the storm comes, its branches may sway, its leaves may scatter, but its roots hold firm. That is who you are. The winds have bent you but not broken you. The rains have drenched you but not drowned you. Why? Because your roots reach deeper than the surface. They are anchored in the eternal, and nothing can uproot what heaven has planted. Do not despise the storms you have endured. They have carved resilience into your spirit. They have trained your ears to hear God's whisper, even in thunder. They have stripped away illusions, leaving only what is strong and true. Without storms, you would not know your own strength. Without storms, you would not recognize the power of your anchor. Consider the disciples on the Sea of Galilee. Waves crashed, fear rose, and they cried out in desperation. Yet, in the midst of their panic, Jesus slept, not because He did not care, but because He knew the storm had no authority to destroy what God had destined. And when the moment was right, He stood, spoke, and the winds obeyed. That same authority surrounds your life. Chosen one. Storms are not a sign of abandonment. They are proof of your importance. The enemy does not waste his fury on those with no future. He targets the ones carrying destiny, the ones whose voices will shatter strongholds, the ones whose light cannot be hidden. That is why storms have pursued you, because your very existence threatens the kingdom of darkness. But storms cannot last forever. They have beginnings and endings, and each one leaves you stronger than before. You may carry scars, but those scars are medals of survival. You may bear memories of fear, but those memories are evidence of triumph. Every storm you endured has whispered the same truth. You are unshakable when anchored in Him. Think also of ships built for deep waters. They are tested in storms, not calm seas. Their strength is revealed when the winds rage. That is you, chosen one. You were not built for shallow waters. You were designed for oceans, for depth, for journeys that require courage. The storms have not disqualified you, they have proven you. So stand tall. Let the winds howl if they must, for they cannot uproot what God has planted. Let the rains fall, for they cannot drown what God has called to rise. You are anchored. You are steady. You are chosen to withstand what others could not. And every storm that passes leaves you more radiant, more resilient, more prepared for the glory ahead. Beloved, never forget this. Storms do not define you. They refine you. They do not destroy. They deepen. And while the world may marvel at how you endured, heaven already knew, because you were chosen, anchored, and unshakable from the very beginning. Chosen one. The journey has brought you here, not by accident, but by divine design. Every valley you walked through, every fire you endured, every storm that tried to shake you was shaping you for this moment. The crown is no longer far away. It is already prepared, waiting for you to rise and wear it. A crown is more than a symbol of glory. It is a declaration of identity. It tells the world who you are and reminds the heavens of what was written about you before your first breath. You are not a wanderer, not a mistake. not a shadow of someone else's dream. You are a crowned heir of divine promise, commissioned to walk in the authority heaven has given you. Every battle you faced was never wasted. Each scar became proof of survival. Each tear became oil for the anointing upon your life. The crown is not only for endurance, it is for victory. A visible sign that you overcame what was designed to destroy you and still stand radiant. Chosen one. The heavens celebrate when you walk boldly in your identity. Your crown is not silent. It speaks. It tells darkness that you cannot be shaken. It tells generations that destiny runs in your bloodline. And it tells your own soul that you were always meant to reign with purpose. The Apostle Paul wrote in the first letter to the Corinthians, chapter 9, verse 25, "Everyone who competes in the games goes into strict training. They do it to get a crown that will not last. But we do it to get a crown that will last forever. This eternal crown, promised and prepared, is the one that rests upon your life. It is not fragile, not temporary, not fading. It is unshakable, just like the destiny written over you. Chosen one. The commission that comes with the crown is weighty. You are not called to wear it for vanity, but for victory. A crown is not for display, it is for service, for battle, for legacy. It means you carry responsibility to shine where others hide, to speak when others are silent, to lead where others shrink back. The crown is your calling, and the commission is your mission. Think of kings and queens of old. Their crowns were reminders of both privilege and duty. They could not live as commoners, for the crown demanded they rise higher. The same is true for you. Your life cannot follow ordinary patterns, because your crown demands extraordinary obedience. The commission upon you calls you to live set apart, to walk with purpose, to carry light with courage. Chosen one. Never underestimate the weight of what you carry. Your very presence shifts atmospheres. Your words break chains. Your prayers push back darkness. The crown you wear is invisible to many, but undeniable in the spirit. Hell recognizes it. Heaven celebrates it. And creation itself leans in to watch you walk in it. Do not fear the responsibility. You are not asked to carry it alone. The same God who placed the crown on your head walks beside you, strengthening your steps, guiding your path, reminding you daily that you are not abandoned. The commission is heavy, but grace is greater. The calling is high, but strength flows from the one who chose you. Chosen one. You may wonder if you are worthy of such a crown. You may feel the weight of past mistakes, the sting of failures, the scars of battles lost. But hear this. Worthiness was never your qualification. The crown rests on your head because of covenant, not perfection. It is not earned. It is bestowed. It is not fragile. It is secured by grace. So, lift your head. Do not walk with shame when you have been crowned with glory. Do not shrink back in fear when you have been commissioned with purpose. The world may not yet see what rests upon you, but in the spirit realm, it is already visible, already shining, already declaring who you are. The crown is yours. Chosen one. The commission is yours. Step forward in strength, for heaven has marked you. The fire has refined you. The storms have proven you, and now the crown seals you. You are chosen. You are crowned. You are commissioned for such a time as this. Chosen one. If you have reached this point, it is no accident. Heaven has carried you through every word, every section. Because this message was meant for you. You have walked valleys, endured storms, faced fire, and emerged crowned with strength and light. And now you stand in a new chapter, seen, chosen, unshakable. But remember, light is never meant to be hidden. What has strengthened you here can strengthen someone else tomorrow. That is why I gently ask, do not let this message remain with you alone. Like it not for numbers, but as your personal seal of agreement. Share it so that another weary soul wandering in the dark may find a torch of hope. Subscribe not for routine, but to remain connected, to keep receiving words that remind you of your crown, your calling, your commission. And if you feel led, consider giving, donating, sowing into this flow. Think of it as adding oil to the lamp so the flame continues to burn. Your generosity does not vanish. It becomes light for others you may never meet. Hope for souls still standing at the edge of despair. Finally, leave your words in the comments. They matter. Even a few simple lines may be the encouragement another chosen one needs to see. When you write, "I am chosen," or "The flame lives," you are not just typing, you are testifying. Your words echo further than you realize. Beloved, this is not the end, it is the beginning. You are chosen, crowned, commissioned, and unstoppable. Carry the flame forward. Shine your light without apology, and let your every step declare, heaven's chosen ones are rising.